It's me, Sean Capri. I'm in my car, and you're listening to the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the man on the moose, and on our journey today, there's a whole bunch of games coming to Game Pass, and I played Hades, and Ryan Turford played a whole bunch of games. He's been unleashed, so jump on into the Xbox Drive.
Greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
I'm not going to lie to you, Ryan. I got through that whole first part of the intro. I got to the point where I talk about, like, on our journey today. Like, I had no idea what's on our journey today. Like, I really don't. I think I do, or at least in that moment, I didn't know what to scream about. Like, I think we do have games coming out on Game Pass. Games probably leaving on Game Pass. You and I played games on Game Pass. That's pretty much a good fallback plan.
Just a Game Pass, a good old Game Pass show, Sean.
Welcome back to the Xbox Game Pass Drive.
We're going down the dirt road this week, Sean, because we don't really know where we're going, but we think we're taking the shortcut. When
That's right.
In fact, it's probably going to take us longer to get to the place we want to go longer than normal. So that being said, we got a lot to get into this week, so we should clean the garage a little bit.
Yes,
so
dusty.
First of all, if you like what we do and you want to support the show, of course, you can view us over on YouTube, youtube.com/YumiCapri if you want to see our beautiful faces there. We do a video version of the show every single week there. And you can, of course, like, subscribe, comment, all that awesome stuff really helps the show get discovered. We've also been seeing a lot of people actually subscribing to YouTube recently. So that's been awesome to see. So I want to say, obviously, thank you to everyone who's, been subscribing to the channel, for liking, for watching the videos and supporting us there. So check us out there. Plus, all of our other shows live there as well besides the Xbox Drive. So
Plus, I'm in my mother-in-law's car this week, Ryan. You can see what my mother-in-law's car is all about. I'm here. I'm in a different vehicle this time.
That's true.
This is worth it alone.
I mean, for sure. But the real question is, Sean, will the Diet Coke actually be Diet Coke this week?
We'll never know. Well, I never know what it's actually going to be. But funny story, since you bring that up, my wife she's in Calgary with her mom, my mother-in-law, and the kids. They're staying at a hotel because there's a great water slide there. And she went to go get a Diet Coke from the vending machine, hit the button for Diet Coke, and out pops a regular Pepsi.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Just we have the worst luck, man. Even the vending machines.
Not only was it not a regular Coke, but it was a regular Pepsi.
I misspoke. She tried for a Diet Pepsi and I gave her regular Pepsi. But you get the gist.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That's still too crazy.
Terrible.
The vending machines are supposed to be accurate, Sean. I don't know.
Seriously. You hit the button.
Also, of course, you can subscribe to us on your podcast service of choice. We're on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those good places. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we will actually read your review on the show today. And we do have an Apple Podcast review here that we're going to get to in just a second because we have some more stuff we want to talk about real quick.
Good tease.
So, speaking of Apple Podcasts, Sean, we may or may not have this contest for Apple Podcasts. What's going on with this contest, Sean?
Okay, well, we've been sitting on something for a little while. Some of you guys might have seen that we were lucky enough to be sent a whole bunch of really cool stuff for Space Jam, including 3 controllers, 3 custom Xbox Series controllers with amazing Space Jam designs on them. I'm keeping one. Ryan Turford is keeping one. And guess what? One of you, I'm pointing at you on the camera, one of you is gonna win one of these controllers. They are awesome. The pictures don't do them very good justice at all. Ryan Turford, I believe we are hoping that people will do an Apple Podcast review. We want to get to a certain number, and when we do that, we're gonna give one of these suckers away. What is it, 75, or what are we doing, 100?
So currently at this time, we are at 62 Apple Podcast reviews across multiple different countries. So US, Canada, UK, and Australia. But once we collectively reach 75, so another 13 more reviews,
easy.
we will be giving away one of the Space Jam controllers, Sean.
That's awesome.
To one lucky listener. The one thing I will say, though, is that in order to win this contest, even though we're asking you to leave an Apple Podcast review, is that we're going to need you to be able to contact you. So in order to do that, you will have to follow us on Twitter, and when you leave your review, just tweet at us at the Xbox Drive with, hey, by the way, I left my Apple Podcast review. Here's the screenshot of it. That's it.
Sure.
That's all you need to do.
Alternatively, in your review, in your Apple Podcast review, leave your mailing address. You could do that, and we'll just ship it right out to you. That would.
Are you sure you really want to leave it there, Sean, when it's public information and anyone can see that?
I don't see a problem with it. If you want to.
Next thing you know, you're going to tell people to leave their social security numbers in there or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. And also your mother's maiden name, just for safety. That would
Don't
be
forget
great.
your password as well, Sean.
Everybody knows it's 1 2 3 4 5.
No, the easiest way to do it is, again, just follow us on Twitter at the Xbox Drive. Just tweet us a screenshot saying, hey, by the way, I left my review on there. Here's a screenshot so you can verify who it is. And then we can put you in the drawing, and we will give that away to one lucky listener. So definitely get on that as well. Just like Jola Rose 15 did.
Oh.
Who says, amazing, ! Because, I mean, exclamation is very exciting, of course. Love checking in with the guys and listening every week. Great podcast.
Wow.
So there you go. Thank you so much for that comment. And of course, again, reach out to us on Twitter if you'd like to be entered into this contest. Jola Rose 15. I don't know who that is, which is why I'm saying to do that. So then that way we know to contact you to get your, mailing information and to get that mailed out to you if you win.
I think you're worried too much about this. We're going to announce the winner and they can get in contact with us. You might have to. It's okay. It's going to be okay, Ryan. We'll find them.
I'm always worried. But Sean, before we go to the main show, we have two last orders of business, and they both involve you.
Oh.
Number one, you are on another Xbox podcast this week, Project X Talk. Tell me about that.
Oh, man, it was so much fun. Kevin asked me to be on that with him on, and, man, we got to wax poetic about Back 4 Blood and when I bought my original Xbox, and we talked about Project Gotham Racing. It was really fun, man. I'm always appreciative when people ask me to be on their podcast, and so people should definitely check that out. A weekly show, Project X Talk, which, man, I had a great time. We had a lot of good Xbox talk on Project X Talk.
Very nice, my friend. So if anyone wants to check out that episode, again, we've got the YouTube link as well as the audio links in the show notes.
Yeah.
So if you want to check that out there. Last but not least, Sean, a certain thing is returning on August 21st at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is that certain thing, Sean?
Set your clocks. Get ready, because I know everybody is now excited about Halo Infinite and the whole tech test, but guess what? Once upon a time, Ryan and I started doing a little something on Saturdays called Halo Saturdays at twitch.tv/Sean Capri. That's right. I'm coming back. I haven't streamed in over a month, maybe a month and a half, almost 2 damn months. It's been too damn long. So Halo is coming back. We're going to be teabagging each other. We're shooting each other in the face. We're having good times, good laughs. People should join the Discord is the best way to do it. It's free. You don't have to be a patron. I don't know if anybody ever thinks that you have to be a patron to join the You, Me, Capri Discord, but you don't have to be. It's great if you are, but the links are in the show notes. We do voice chat together. You can play on Xbox One or Series or PC or whatever. Everybody is welcome. It's an absolutely open invite. 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, August 21st. And then guess what? Saturday, August 28th. And then whatever the hell the date is for the Saturday after that, and after that, and after that. Because we are on the road to Halo Infinite, and we've been doing Halo Saturdays for far too long for this to be a broken schedule any longer. So, Ryan, I'm very excited, my friend.
And plus, if you want to get in on the action, make sure you have Halo Master Chief Collection installed.
And updated.
We usually play Halo 2 and 3, so if you're on PC, those are really probably the only two you have to have installed.
Yep.
But I mean, come on, you're probably going to want to install everything, but just in case, if you want to, break it up and not have, 100 gigs on your computer of Halo. Mm-hmm. That's totally cool too.
I'm so excited,
I just wanted to throw that there because not everyone knows that. But Sean,
Ryan,
let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist. And
you go first. I'm going to get a drink.
Of course. So first off, I should probably talk about some of the games I played.
You
so
go
first
ahead.
of all, I talked about last week how kind of the gates are kind of unleashed.
Oh, there's no time for that.
Sean.
Hang on a second. Hi there. Can I please get a large Diet Coke and a large decaf with 2 Splenda?
Sorry, that was large Coke and large decaf, 2 Splenda?
Large Diet Coke.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For services.
Man, they have like just a gigantic picture of a chocolate fudge sundae and a strawberry banana smoothie. Ryan, do you know how hard this is to go
They're
to
killing you,
McDonald's
Sean.
as often as I do, to stare at these pictures and to go, I'll have the chemical filled cola, please. I'll have that.
You say this as if there's not lots of other food that's really bad for you on the McDonald's menu.
I'm also just
sundaes.
realizing, Ryan, that I need to use the camera that's being used to film me to do the payment for this thing. I don't know if this is gonna work. Thank you.
I feel like this is going to be a very interesting video when I get a chance to take a look at it.
Is this still working?
While Sean figures out his payment, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the games I played. So then that way we get moving. So first up, I played Hades, which I know we'll get to when Sean gets to go this week. But I also played Marvel's Avengers War for Wakanda. I went back to Marvel's Avengers this week because the new expansion featuring Black Panther just came out yesterday from the time we're recording this, or 2 days ago because it came out on Tuesday. It's free for anyone who already owns the game. So if you already own the game, you can actually get this for free.
Thank you.
A little bit shorter than I was kind of hearing before it came out because I had initially said on the show a few weeks ago that it was going to be about 8 hours of content, but it's definitely a lot less than that. It only took me about 3 hours to finish it. And
wow.
What I've heard from
Pro
other people,
gamer.
I'm not the only one who only took that amount of time in order to finish this. So it's not just me kind of just speeding through it.
Yeah.
But you get to go in some new areas, like you're in Wakanda for the most part, and you're fighting AIM as well as some other enemies as well. You've got 2 new bosses as well. You've got Crossbones and another boss that I don't want to spoil, as well as you've got new playable character with Black Panther. Although playing as Black Panther I thought was fine. He's not really the type of character that I would really go with because he's kind of like a melee fighter.
Yeah,
kind of
short
reminds me
range.
of like, yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a faster version of Hulk, which is also a character I don't really like. I prefer kind of like more long range characters like Black Widow or Kate Bishop or Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
So those are kind of my go-tos when it comes to Avengers. So, you know, playing as Black Panther is the type of character I think is cool for the game, but is not the type of character that I really want to play as. But yeah, so I liked my time with it. The story wasn't amazing or anything like that. It wasn't like as good as the main campaign, but they had these like really well done cinematics that I thought were cool. Basically, like going over some of the interactions between, Black Panther or some of the people in kind of the Wakanda royalty along with the Avengers. So I thought a lot of that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
The voice acting's really good, but yeah, I thought it was okay. It wasn't amazing. And I don't know if this is going to make me stick with Avengers, but I am glad I went back and played it because I do think that it was a good kind of couple hours of fun. But then do I really want to keep going with this game? Probably not. So those are kind of my thoughts on that. Next up, now that you're back with your drinks, Sean, Hades, we should talk about it real quick.
I've never left.
I know.
And it's a Diet Coke. It's delicious. It's a very, very good. This is a 10 out of 10 Diet Coke, my friend.
It's been verified. It's official. So Hades, of course, brand new to Game Pass this week.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about this game last year being their kind of game of the year game. I think you had played it on Switch, right, Sean?
I played it on PC, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd played it before, whereas this was my first time playing Hades. However, I've mentioned on the show plenty of times I'm not really into roguelikes at all. But I'd heard from plenty of people that, hey, Hades is probably going to be, it was like kind of their gateway drug into roguelikes.
Definitely.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this game a chance and see, how it turns out. And if it's awesome, I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
But I maybe got 3 hours into the game and I'm just like, nope. I'm not feeling this. This is not for me. What? Yeah. I hate to say it, 'cause the game is gorgeous, and I know from playing it, like the combat feels fun. Like it feels like a game I should like, but I just don't, man. I just don't like roguelikes. It's hard for me to get into.
What is happening? Oh no.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what to. I obviously really
it's
like
what I
it.
expected to happen, but I'm glad I gave it a try to see how awesome it is. And I can definitely understand. I can understand why people love this game from after playing it now, and I can definitely tell it's a top quality game. It's just it's not for me, and sometimes that happens.
Damn it.
I knew that going into it, so but at least tried it at least.
I'm not judging you at all, but I do feel like at the very least, if people haven't played it and they do have Game Pass, they owe it to themselves to try, just like you did. And because for me, like I'm all in on the Greek mythology of it all. The music I think is really really cool. The way the combat does feel, and the way that you have choice and agency of the upgrades that you have, the way that the other gods are coming down to help you escape from Hades' domain, the relationship that Hades has with his son Zagreus, I think is humorous and sad and dark and compelling, all wrapped up into one. They're very sarcastic to each other, and he's very demeaning to him. But then as you progress, it's like, ooh, maybe I got something to be concerned about here. I love every time that I am. Yes, you do die, and sure, you're starting back from the beginning. But the upgrades, this is the key. I think it was Badbit. He was on Player One podcast talking about how this game seems to like write the rule book for how these types of games should be done. Like this is it. The combat feels so great. great, and it introduces every new element in a way that totally makes sense. The new weapons that you can get, the way that you can combine a dash into an attack where you can stab somebody from behind or attack them from behind for bonus damage. You can slam them against the wall for even more bonus damage. You can use the environmental attacks as well for even more damage. So you hit a little pillar and spikes fall from the ceiling, or you slam them up against something that's exploding. It's like, this is arcadey goodness just to the max, dude. It feels so great. It's snappy. I really am totally opposite, man. I could play this game forever. I think this game is absolutely amazing and people should play it. But you die a lot and you are going to start over from scratch, and maybe you might feel like that doesn't compel you to keep going, but I feel the progression in you earn like currency as you go along, and you're investing in your own power-ups or new weapons, and there's things to continue. There's even like a do-over. You can earn a do-over. You can die and then come back to life with 50% of your life back, and that will help you progress even further. It all wraps up, man. They've thought of everything with this game. So that I just wanted to counter I know that this isn't for you, but I wanted to wax poetic a little bit about it because I really like it.
Oh, and that's one of the beautiful things about Game Pass. Where like, even though this is the type of game that I knew that probably wasn't for me, I'm glad I was able to give it a chance because of Game Pass. Where like, I might not have ever tried this game out before and just kind of been very close-minded to it, Sean, if I had to go pay for it. So
I also need to bring up one more thing, Ryan. I need to bring up one more thing. I needed to eat crow yesterday on the Nintendo Drive with Kato, which people should check out. It's where I talk about Nintendo while driving my car with Console Kato. I thought that there were hints out there, and I think many of us thought that there were hints that Game Pass is coming to Nintendo Switch, and Phil Spencer came out and said that's not going to happen. So Kato was right yesterday, but I think Ryan Turford is wrong today, because somebody can go back at some point and find the clip where Ryan Turford said Hades will never come to Xbox. And not only did it come to Xbox, it came to Xbox Game Pass day one, baby.
I probably said that at some point, Sean. But I mean,
you had good reason
to. Statistical data of Super Giant games to Xbox. So.
You had good reason to.
Man, last game,
saying that you're wrong is not very fun for me at all. I think I'm going to stop doing that.
You're so mean, Sean. I thought we were friends.
I know, but play along.
Anyways, I'm going to go with the last game I played before I go over to you, Sean, because I know you played a bit of stuff too.
Sure.
But I have to talk about this one, because this one, if you want to know a Ryan Turford game, Tales of Arise demo came out yesterday, Sean.
Yeah.
Because I had a Japanese PlayStation account, so I was able to download it
pretty
early on in the day yesterday, which is awesome. And then I actually played it on Xbox too, because I played both demos essentially. But the Tales of Arise demo is out now. It takes place kind of in the middle of the game. So as we kind of suspected, it doesn't take place at the beginning or anything like that, because I think that there's probably some stuff in the prologue that they don't want to spoil. So they just carved out just a random chunk in the middle of the game. So you're kind of like all level 25 with all your characters. But Sean, I had so much fun playing the Tales of Arise demo.
Oh, that's
Let me tell you
awesome.
what. I mean, this feels like just the exact perfect evolution of the series that I really wanted ever since, after Tales of Berseria kind of wrapped, where the Tales series has always been like really fun. It had some great, action RPG combat, but I think it was starting to get a little bit stale because they hadn't really changed around a lot of the system since kind of the early days of Tales. And Tales of Berseria added some combo elements to it. But for the most part, it stayed pretty true to kind of the older formula. And this, what I like about it is not only do they not totally reinvent the wheel, but they reinvent the wheel in all of the right places where it really needed some work. The combat system is just so fast and fluid and fun. You have a lot of the combos that you had from Tales of Berseria are kind of back with your arts, but you also have a lot of dodge and jump mechanics that allow you to get out of the way of attacks, as well as you've got perfect evades this time around, which do some cool effects as well, depending on each individual character. You can also basically tap on your D-pad to summon any one of your party members to do kind of like a super move. You're fighting with 4 characters at the same time, but then you can also summon your characters from outside battle to do that. You can also switch between any of the 6 characters at any time, even in the middle of combat. Like, for example, if you're up against a boss, for example, it might be better to take on with one of the like longer range characters, for example. Right. You can play as them rather than kind of the short range characters and take more advantage of that and kind of switch up your strategies on the fly, which I thought was really cool. This game is gorgeous. on Series X and PlayStation 5. Like both places I played it, it looks fantastic. But in particular, Series X I think actually ran a little bit better. Because
Obviously,
I think the frame rate was a lot smoother on Series X.
That's interesting. You did both, yeah.
But we'll have to wait kind of for the Digital Foundry report before we kind of know like, how different it's going to be. But there's a frame rate mode, so it plays at a locked 60 frames per second, or you have a prioritized graphics mode that runs at just 4K 30, I think.
Sure.
But either way, just very gorgeous looking game. It was just a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this, and I'm so hyped for the main game. I mean, all they really have to do, I think, is just land the story. Like, if the story is good, I think this is going to be one of the best games I played this year. So I'm very, very, very high on this game, and I can't wait for the final game to come out. So,
I have questions.
Of course.
Speaking of the story, well, first of all, the demo, is it like the beginning of the game? Are you somewhere in the middle of the game? Like, what do you expect? What can people expect if they try the demo?
I think you're about 4 or 5 hours into the game because all of your characters are level 25 and you've got all 6 party members.
Gotcha.
So, and for anyone who's played Tales games before, usually you don't start with all the party members right away. Usually you kind of earn them along the journey. Yeah.
So
I imagine it's like 5 or 6 hours in. I'm guessing.
Now, second question. I guess in that case, then your progress wouldn't carry over.
No.
What can you tell me about the protagonist and like what is the setting of this story too? Because quite often for me, like that's kind of the gameplay. I kind of feel like I kind of know what to expect, but like who is the protagonist in the first one? I thought that was one of the most compelling. Not the first one, the last one, the Berseria game. I'm like, what happened to Velvet was just like, holy crap! I am so in. Are you getting a sense of like something crazy, something interesting at the very least with our hero and party and stuff?
So the story is the one thing I'm not so sure about, Sean. Number one, because they don't really explore the story in the demo. For the most part, you're walking on this wilderness trail to basically this town, but you can't enter the town right away until you go beat a boss that's out in the wilderness. And then that's basically where the demo ends. And I've been purposely not paying attention to the story because I don't want to know anything about the story before the game comes out.
Yeah, especially if it jumps you into the middle of it. Okay, well, what I'm really after is, do you play as a cutie in this game?
You can. There's 3. You have 3 guys and 3 girls.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I asked.
And
cool.
As I mentioned, you can play as any of the 6 characters. It doesn't matter, like if you have a particular favorite.
I see what you mean.
That.
Yeah, no, it seemed like just like because we've seen that before in other games where you sort of like swap out, but like in terms of like the protagonist, like who the story kind of like centers around, I guess is kind of what I'm thinking.
And that's the thing. The story mainly focuses around 2 of the characters, but that can be debated because honestly, I felt. At least from playing the demo, like the story in the demo kind of focuses around all 6 characters as a party. So for the most part, I don't like. There's not like one like main protagonist. I think like kind of the guy and the girl on the cover are kind of more the main protagonist. But from what I'm feeling so far, I think any of the 6 characters are kind of the main character. And not only that, but you can change out the party leader to any of the characters you want, and that's who you run around as the open world with. So you don't actually have to select anyone by default. You can pick whatever character you want. So
it's Hexapath Traveler is the game.
I guess.
This is Project Hexapath Traveler.
The difference is it's not going to be 6 branching stories that are separate from each other like Octopath Traveler is. It's going to be
a bit of a stretch of a joke.
In fact, most Tales games are kind of like this too, where they have like some of them will have like one major protagonist, but again, like as you go through it, the story is more about the party and less about the main character. Or sometimes they're not about one main character at all. It just kind of depends. Which is kind of the thing I like about the Tales games.
Is this soon?
Yeah, September 10th.
Oh, okay. So not like next week or anything. We've probably got another 13 games coming out between now and then, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we got lots of games coming out soon. Yep. So, yeah, look out for it soon. Try the demo. It's up now on Xbox. So if you're at all interested in this game, definitely try out the demo if you want to get a sense of what the combat's like in the game. So
yeah, man.
There you go. Those are my thoughts on the demo. Real quick, I know you wanted to quickly touch on some of your games as well, Sean. What did you play this week?
Well, Hellblade is what I'll just quickly chat about. I think, in the third chapter of Hellblade, going into Helheim. And yeah, I wanted to jump in because it had the update to the Series X consoles. And I have to say that it looks really good. It plays really good. I played this. I think I've gotten about this far on PC in the past. And man, what else is there to say about Hellblade? It's absolutely worth people's attention. And I hopefully will beat it soon enough because I am totally panicked, man. There's Dodgeball Academia, which I've also touched a little bit. There's a Art of Rally, I think, game that people are really interested in. 12 Minutes will be out by the time I think this releases. We may also be playing Psychonauts 2 very, very soon, and maybe people can pay attention to that very soon. So lots happening, man, but I wanted to get to Hellblade, but I'm a little panicked about all the games, all the things, dude.
There are lots of games coming out this week. Well, speaking of all those games, we should slam the brakes on this conversation, Sean, because it is time for some breaking news because we got new Game Pass games.
Oh,
so
hooray.
We should talk about that. You kind of alluded to this a little
My
bit.
panic.
So the following games are coming to Sean's backlog, aka Game Pass. So Recompile, this is coming to PC, but also Series X and S. It is not coming to Xbox One. It's out on August 19th. Train Sim World 2 comes out on August 19th. 12 Minutes comes out on August 19th, which we'll talk about in 1 second. Psychonauts 2 comes out on August 25th, and then just announced yesterday, which kind of out of nowhere, a port of the OG PC game Myst is coming to Xbox One on August 26th as well. And also the following games are leaving Game Pass on August 31st. Blair Witch, Double Kick Heroes, NBA 2K21, and Stranger Things 3, the game. So
Double Kick is really good. People should try
out
out Double Kick. That's a fun, just a little bit of a romp. NBA is a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's around the time that the new one's coming out, which is why NBA 2K21 is leaving. And then Blair Witch, I think, is a game that if you haven't played it and you like horror games, you might like it. It's like a very divisive game. So I know that some people really like it, or either they're like Sean, they don't like it. But I want to go real quick to 12 Minutes as well, because reviews just came out for that this morning, Sean.
Right.
I had a chance to check them out, and reviews are kind of all over the place for this game too. Like, people can't decide if they like this game, if they don't like this game. So I'm very excited to check this game out this week.
Yeah.
And find out for myself if it's any good. All right.
How dare you? Aren't you just supposed to like yell at the reviews and not play it yourself, Ryan? I thought that seems like... Okay.
In a pre-Game Pass world, Sean, that's what we would do. But in a post-Game Pass world, it's all good. Because we can just that's what the downloads...
In a post-Game Pass world, you can just shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just shut up and play the game.
All right. Play some video games. Next up, after receiving early access to the Steam Deck, Phil Spencer took to Twitter to confirm that, yes, Project xCloud actually works just fine on the device. He was actually streaming some Game Pass games to the Steam Deck and didn't have any problems with it.
Age of Empires he played.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Because, it has access to PC Game Pass as well. So which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But the jury's still out, however, as to whether you'll be able to play these games natively. You should be able to, because again, you can install Windows, but it's just a matter of how well they'll run under with the Steam Deck's power. It remains kind of the question that we have here. But I thought this was actually a cool news story this week, and I'm glad that Phil's had his hands on it, because I think if there's a way that they can make Game Pass natively work on Steam Deck, they will find a way to make it work. And it's good to know that they've at least had kind of their hands on this. But what do you think about this story, Sean?
Well, I'm still probably not going to buy one. But one of the things that oddly enough jumped out at me most was just that he called it xCloud. Like, I mean, if you're just using the word, you should just use the word. But I like, instead of xCloud or Xbox streaming for whatever the hell. I think that's probably the thing that jumped out at me the most. The other thing, this is actually one of the first thoughts that I had, other than that totally unnecessary observation, is that what are those guys doing together? Those are busy people. They're trying to take over the world, a couple billion gamers at a time. They're not just like hanging out playing Steam Deck or something. I feel like maybe this is me putting on my tinfoil cap on a little bit, speculating, but like there's something brewing on that front. I'm just going to say it. They're hanging out. I don't think that they just have like sweet hangs playing video games together. I'd like to think that maybe there's a little something, little partnership happening there.
Yeah, for sure. Like I imagine there's there's going to be some kind of collaboration that comes along with this. And I guess we'll find out in a few months when people actually start getting their Steam Decks, Sean. I'm very excited to
Microsoft
hear
makes
from
their
people.
own, like, because this is meant to be like a configuration that like anybody can, like there can be like a, I don't know, like an HP one or like an Omen maybe Steam Deck, like that. I'm pretty sure that was part of the news story, right? Where like Alienware could make their own, or a Dell one, or it doesn't have to be like primarily from Valve. It'd be interesting to see if Xbox, or I'm sorry, if Microsoft jumps in on that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. If you want my prediction on this, Sean, I honestly don't think Microsoft goes down the road of producing that themselves. If it could run just fine on the Valve Steam Deck, then why would Microsoft pump all this money into creating a handheld themselves? I think that's just
or a
the
partnership of
argument you have
some,
to ask.
maybe even just an Xbox branded one. You know, like you can see that.
I think that's more likely than
Yeah.
them producing it themselves. Yeah, for sure. All right.
I want to know
Next
from
news
people.
story-
Leave comments in the video.
Exactly. Next news story. In an interview with Games Radar, Phil Spencer confirmed what Sean alluded to earlier because he had skipped to this news story. Phil Spencer confirmed that at this time, there are no plans to bring Xbox Game Pass to closed platforms like PS5 and Switch, as, quote, these closed platforms don't want something like Xbox Game Pass on their platforms. The focus will continue to be on PC, web, mobile, and then eventually support on Xbox consoles, because we do know that at some point game streaming is coming to Xbox One, which will be awesome. But yeah, so it sounds like the dream's dead, Sean. You know, no more. We can't put any more predictions in that Game Pass is coming to Switch, at least for right now.
What was the Switch doing on his shelf for? What was it? What was that all about? Like something. There's got to be something. Oh man, heartbreaking, but it totally makes sense. And you know, we keep hearing these types of things even from PlayStation and from, well, I guess ex-PlayStation with Sean Layden talking about how does that model work? Like they just don't seem to really understand it, or they don't want it. Maybe they don't want it because they don't understand it. But yeah, I mean, like it totally makes sense. And actually, if nothing else, just appreciate the fact that he even commented like that to say they don't want it. And it doesn't seem like he's doing it in a way that like to incite a response from anybody. He's not looking to like get anybody outraged and have people like go after Nintendo for not wanting it. It's just like, we talked about it. It doesn't seem to be a fit. That's it. Like that. I love that, man.
Yeah, like I really appreciate the honesty. He just went like, it sounds like he went to all these places and asked, "Hey, do you guys want Game Pass?" And it sounds like they all said no, but at least he tried. At least he tried to bring it to other places. We tried to bring the good word of Game Pass to other places, Sean. It wasn't happening. The Game Pass gnome will just have to relax and stay in his home, I guess. But it's all good. All right. Let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool because we're running a little short on time today. Okay. But we have a lot of questions this week, Sean. In fact, we have one that's going to be a doozy. This one comes to us from XerosKill at XerosKill1. Now, before I read this question, of course, if you would like to have your question read on the carpool, there's a number of ways to do that. Number one, if you follow us on Twitter at the Xbox Drive, we actually tweet out a questions post every single Tuesday. You leave your questions there. Usually it has Sean's beautiful face on it. Sometimes you get an anime GIF from me. Either or. Look for that on the Twitter page. Leave your question there and we will answer it on the show. Or if you leave a question on our YouTube videos, you can actually leave your question there and we'll answer it on the next show. Or if you join our Discord, the Yumi and Capri Discord, which is free to join, links in the show notes. Of course, you can leave your question there as well any day of the week. Just make sure to mention that it's for the show and tag one of us in it, and we will ask it on the show. Just like XerosKill on Twitter did. As I mentioned, XerosKill1 on Twitter is his handle. And he asks, movie quickfire. So here we go, Sean. Plenty of questions to go through. You ready for this?
Okay, I'll go first. You read the question. I'll go first, then you go.
Okay, cool. So, salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Salty. Drive-in or backyard projector?
Backyard projector.
Drive-in. Movie theater solo or with friends at home?
Ooh, I love this. I think solo. People should definitely experience it at least once solo.
Yeah, I'd have to say movie theater solo as well. I would say prefer at home, but I don't want to watch movies with friends at home, please. I'd rather be by myself. Next one. What's worth, movie tied to a video game or a video game tied to a movie?
What's worse? The movie video games.
Yeah? They're actually worse than the video game movies?
Video games that are based on a movie are way better.
I don't know, Sean. I actually think we've been getting a lot of good video games based off movies. So I'm going to have to go the opposite. Movie tied to video game is way worse. I mean, just watch Monster Hunter and you will never want to watch a video game movie ever again. Live action or animated?
Wait, what? Live action or animated? Animated.
Animated 110%.
Yeah.
MCU or DCU, new heroes or more sequels?
Shut it down. Neither. C. I choose C. Shut it all down. I don't want any more. I'm done. I'm good. I'm overloaded.
Can I also say C on that one? Because I don't really love superheroes.
Yeah.
We have too many already.
Yeah, that's it.
We don't need another Venom movie, you guys. It's over. It's done.
Give me more Quentin Tarantino.
Exactly. Pixar or DreamWorks?
Oh, it's not even close. Pixar.
Yeah. I'm going to say option C. I don't watch either, so I can't really answer that one.
I know.
And then last one, more iconic, TriStar or New Line?
The New Line, definitely New Line. Yeah. Ninja
I'm
Turtles.
going with TriStar.
What? What comes to mind when you think of TriStar?
Top Gun. That's it.
Oh, that's
you
a
don't
good
need to know any
answer.
other movies.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I'll have to take your word for it.
I love movies from the 80s, and TriStar is more kind of iconic from the 80s. So
that's a good question. I like that one a lot.
Although I'm going to throw the third option in there, Orion films, and I'll say Orion over the other two. But
nice.
Anyways, next up, Todd Oxtra at Toxtra asks the question, what do you expect we could see when do you think we can expect to see the first iteration of the Series X or S? We saw the 1S 3 years ago and the 1X 4 years later. Could the all-digital Series X be the first? So, Todd, I think we talked about this on the PlayStation Drive because we had actually had a similar question about when we were going to expect kind of the PlayStation 5 Slim and if we could expect it next year. And I think it's good because of the chip shortage and because of all of the stuff that's happening now. I think that's really delayed when we're going to probably see some of these slim models or some of these changed up models, like these next iteration of consoles. Mm-hmm. So it might be a little bit longer in the dev cycle maybe, or maybe we only get one revision instead of two this time around. But I expect that it's going to probably be around when the 1X came out. So 4 years probably into this life cycle is probably when we'll see the first revision. But what do you think about this question, Sean?
Yeah, I think these consoles launched in a much better state and like feeling like advanced technology instead of the last generation where they felt old basically on day one and you kind of like couldn't wait for the iteration to come. This one I don't think is necessarily the case, and you just pointed out a really like realistic reason why we probably won't be getting anything anytime soon. What I think is actually more immediate and maybe even more interesting is like I want custom Series X consoles. I want designs. I'd love to see that like news coming out of Halo. I'd love to see like a year after the game was supposed to come out or a year after the consoles launched that the next, if we're going to buy something different than what we currently can have, like some sort of Xbox Pope design on this thing. I think that would be really, really interesting. And or sometime in the future after that, like a big deal partnership. I think PlayStation nailed it last generation with Destiny coming out right away. They had a special glacier white console, which I got. They had a really good one with Batman, Arkham Knight, Star Wars. I think they had a couple things there as well. So I'd like to see that and getting people really excited about having a Series X that looks really good. I think it's just primed and ready for some sort of design and make it look stand out even more.
Yeah, I think we see way more of those, like, especially, I thought we were going to get one for Halo this year, but it doesn't sound like we're going to.
Yeah.
But I imagine, like, next year, like, when Fable or Perfect Dark come out, like, you better believe they're going to probably have consoles, like, themed around those.
Why do you think no for Halo? What makes you say that, like, there's an indication of, like, that's a no already?
Well, I just figured we would have heard about it by now.
We don't even know the date.
You never know.
Like that's the only reason I'm holding out hope for it is I think we can learn a lot about Halo still. Like there's a date, November, whatever the hell, 23rd or something, and that you can buy it or get it with a special edition console and or controller. Like there's still lots that we could find out on that front.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we will probably hear about it next week because we do have the Gamescom showcase next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So I expect. I mean, that's when I expect we hear about Halo next. We talked about it on last week's show. Yeah. So yeah, I mean. It would be awesome to see one. Like I had predicted like a long time ago that they were going to do like a Halo branded console, but I was like, I'd given up hope on it because we hadn't heard about it by now. But you're right, we don't even know the date yet, so maybe they were just waiting till the date before they announced that. So, Who knows?
It also doesn't.
All right.
It doesn't help them to say like, "There's another console. Like, don't buy anything now. Like, wait until this other thing comes out." That doesn't help them at all. That's really terrible, actually.
You see this as if people have been able to hold off buying consoles as if they can find them anywhere, Sean.
That's true. Good point.
That's more the problem more than anything. All right. Last question comes to us from Delroy at JDelroyC.
What's up,
and he asks
Delroy?
the question, is there an Xbox-related game or series that you'd consider be in your gaming blind spot? For me, it's Banjo-Kazooie. I've dabbled in each of them, but never really stuck with any of them beyond a few hours at the most. So, confession time, Delroy. I've never played Banjo-Kazooie, any of them. At all. I just haven't played any of them. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anytime I hear like a big rare collectathon, I'm just instantly like, nope, I don't need to do that. Especially after DK64, I just know those aren't my jam.
Yeah.
And I didn't play them on N64, and then when Nuts and Bolts came out, I'm like, this is too weird for me to want to pick up.
Oh,
anyway.
I like Nuts and Bolts quite a lot. I feel like I'm one of 6 people who do.
I know 3 other people in real life, Sean, who actually also like that game.
Yeah,
so
underrated.
I do know people who like that game. So honestly, out of all the Xbox franchises, to be honest, it's most of the rare ones.
Yeah.
So it's that. I've never
That's
played Conker
understandable.
before.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
So yeah, I think that for me personally, that's probably what I would consider from the Xbox blind spot. But again, I played most of the Xbox franchises across Xbox and 360.
Yeah.
Not just for our lists on those consoles, but also I just have most of those games. So I would say it's probably Banjo or Conker or something like that. But what about you, Sean?
Well,
What's in your blind spot?
It's funny that you say those ones because I almost like that. It almost doesn't even count. You know, like a lot of those games weren't even on Xbox. It was more of a purchase blind spot that you're experiencing. It'd be interesting if like anything on the Bethesda side, like if you have any blind spots there, which I also would say that don't really count. But for me, this might be unforgivable. I know Donnie Reese gives me a hard time on this one, but Fable. I haven't played any Fable games ever.
Ooh.
So that's a massive, I feel like that's pretty critical. Where maybe 2 years ago I could have gotten away with it, but now that it's coming back, I think I think that's more egregious now than maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, especially because I know that you'd probably actually really like Fable.
Yeah.
Like, I think Fable would totally be up your alley. So I think that it's a shame you haven't checked it out yet. But also, I think it'll be awesome maybe to play those in anticipation for the new one coming out as well. Like maybe check out some of the older ones because I talked about them on the Crossroads, but both Fable 1 and 2 still hold up really well, especially with some of the enhancements that we got on Xbox One for both games. And then even like Fable 3, which I know I didn't love as much, also plays really well too. So yeah, I think that those games would be good to go back to if you ever, feel inclined. But I know you have a ton of games already that you're playing, as you talked about, Sean. So I don't know when you're going to actually have time for these games. But that's part of the problem. And going back to your example, you're right. I think part of that too was just I didn't grow up with N64. I grew up with PlayStation 1 and PC games. That's what I was playing at the time. I didn't actually buy my first N64 until 2 years ago. So I mean,
wow.
For the most part, because all my friends had N64s, and I was the one person in the group that had a PlayStation 1. Yeah. So if I wanted to go play an N64 game, I would go over to my friends' places and we'd play together, kind of thing. But then none of them actually owned Banjo either. So it's just it's just one of those things where I wasn't of that era, I guess. So I wasn't buying N64 games till later. So that's why I kind of missed those games. But anyways, Sean, we got to go. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
Plug for Play Blast Core. Get on Rare Replay. People, speaking of 64 games, Play Blast Core is excellent. But people can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri. It's Sean like Connor. Capri like the pants. I'm coming back to Twitch, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. So I would appreciate everybody joining us over there. You can follow the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Yumi Capri. And if you like the show even just a little bit, you can tip us over at patreon.com/Yumi Capri.
Very nice, my friend. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You also find us on Twitter at the Xbox Drive, as well as on podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 204 of the Xbox Drive, and we're out. Bye.
There's simply too many games for us to play all of the games. I'm not sure how everybody expects us to play all the games. I hope you guys are enjoying playing all the games because I'm enjoying playing all the games, but it's also causing me a lot of stress and anxiety. But I had fun recording this podcast with Ryan. I hope you enjoy listening to it. Bye. The Xbox Drive is fueled by patrons at patreon.com/Yumi Capri. And from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful to the nearly 70 patrons who support us each and every month. With special thanks to our Capremium producers, Dallas Ford, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team,
and Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. You can support Jonathan Brown at youtube.com/gamingpurplemonkey. Our platinum producers, Robbie Bobby Miller and Trucker Sloth, and all of our gold members, Argo, Benji Kong, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Heather Boney, James Johnson, Dr. Doom, Joel Brooks, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, and Xavier Reyes. If you'd like to support this show, go to patreon.com/YumiCapri and choose the Patreon tier that works for you.